It's Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What, founder of I Am the Possible, the place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, I am on a mission to inspire the mental health and mobilization of Christian men in the marketplace. Today, in just a few moments, I want to talk about the topic of negative emotions, specifically how to use negative emotions to your advantage. Now, it is no shocker. It is it is no surprise that many men, especially Christian men, in the workplace, in the marketplace, are experiencing negative emotions on a daily basis. Some people may say that they are literally depressed. Some people may say that they just feel bad. Some people may be in a funk. They may feel stuck. But if you're that individual, you're right now you're dealing with a lot of negative emotions. You don't feel good inside. You may feel depressed. You may just feel down. You may feel like the world is against you. You may be struggling to understand, really what's happening. You may be lacking confidence in your next move or your next decision. But wherever you are and whatever you're facing, whatever you're dealing with, at the end of the day, you're dealing with a negative emotion of some sort. And today I want to share with you in this video 3 things that you need to know to better manage your emotional states and begin using your emotions rather than your emotions using you. See, many times when we feel bad, we're angry, we're upset, we're frustrated, we're confused. Many times these emotions become so overwhelming, they become so intense that they begin to use us. We no longer feel like we're in control. We no longer feel like we, have any say in the matter. Growing up, my grandmother was a seamstress, and one of the things that she did, at a very high level was create these dolls. And so all around the house, she would create dolls. Some just nameless dolls that she would create out of her own imagination. Some dolls she would create based upon cartoon characters or the popular pop culture figures of that time. Well, at one point, she made this Raggedy Ann doll. Right. I don't know if you know anything about Raggedy Ann and Andy, but it was like a cartoon and it was a book, but it basically was the story of a rag doll. Right. And if you know anything about a rag doll, they're made of rags, and they're pretty much useless, and they're made to be abused and misused and pretty much tossed all around. Right. You don't take great care of a rag doll. You don't sit around and comb the hair of a rag doll like you would like a Barbie, right? My wife and I, we just recently went to go see Barbie, and young girls don't care for a Raggedy Ann doll the way that they care for their Barbie. And so I share this story because the Raggedy Ann doll was something that was meant to be tossed all around to and fro and not really cared for all that much. Well, many times our negative emotions will treat us like a rag doll. We feel like life is just throwing us all over the place, and we feel like we're out of control and like we can't really do anything about it. And I just want to shine a little light, in this area of darkness for some of us, because the popular idea in the world when it comes to emotions, the popular idea is I want to get rid of it. If I don't feel bad, or rather, if I feel bad, how can I quickly feel better? What can I do to eliminate this feeling? What can I do to rebound? What can I do to regulate? What can I do to begin to feel better? Because right now I feel crappy. I feel down. I feel deflated, right? Disheartened, discouraged. How can I rebound? How can I get back to feeling good and being happy? And, there's a time and place for everything. There are no absolutes. But today I want to share with you 3 things that I think you need to know. And you can call them perspectives, you can call them practices, you can call them forms of awareness around emotions. So let's jump into this, because by knowing these 3 things, you're going to be better equipped, like I said, to use the emotion for you. You're going to use it for your benefit, right? You're going to use the emotion rather than the emotion actually using you. So the first thing is what is an emotion? An emotion, it's an educator. Emotions equal education. The purpose of an emotion is to educate. They are informants. Now, I came from a pretty rough background, right? And so when I was growing up, I was into some stuff that I shouldn't have been into. And many times I've, been pulled over by the police. I've been arrested multiple times. I've gone to jail multiple times. And so, I've had my run-ins with the cops, but I've never been in such a situation where I had to become an informant, or I was even approached to become an informant. But if you know anything about, cops and law and, court cases and whatnot, there are those times where people become informants, and maybe they can do some sort of deal with the cops and the judge, and they can get a couple years off their sentence if they were to cooperate and kind of rat some people out. You guys get the picture, right? You've seen movies, right? And some of us have lived those movies, right? So anyway, the informant is someone who tells, who gives up information, valuable information, to the cops, so the cops can use this valuable information to maybe go get the drug lord, or to bring down this huge operation, right? But the idea is the informant informs. They give up information. Well, our emotions are informants. They give up information. They are educating. That is their purpose of an emotion. It is to educate us. So rather than the popular, let's get rid of it, let's overlook it, let's pretend like it's not there, let's solve it. No, you want to begin to engage. You want to begin to look at your emotions as what they are. They're informants. And so you begin to look at them and say, what are you educating me on? What are you informing me of? What are you trying to tell me? You become more curious than you do combative, right? Because many times when it comes to emotions, we're taught in our culture and by people, friends and family members, they encourage you, they push you to fight your emotions, right? Don't be so negative, don't be so critical, right? Don't be this, don't be that. And so we began to put our dukes up, and we begin to in a sense box with our emotions. And I want you to take a different approach. I want you to consider that emotions are educators. They are educating you. Now, what are they educating you of? Okay, that brings us to number 2. I'm so glad that you asked. Emotions respond and relay. Emotions are responding to something in your life. Something is happening. Let's say you've gone into a specific area, or you're engaged with a certain person, or you're doing a certain activity. Whatever it might be, your emotions are responding to the experience, or they're responding to the memory of an experience, and they are relaying information to you. So pay attention. Again, they're educators, they're informants, and they are responders. You know how we have in life, right? First responders, right? The first person on the scene. Well, in your neurological makeup, right? Your brain and your nervous system, and all of your inner workings, right? I want you to think of your emotions as the first responder, right? Even the way that the brain works, and I won't get all nerdy on you, right? But at the back of the neck, right? At the base of the head, right? That's where information enters our brain first. And it's back there at that brain, stem, right? At the spinal cord, right at the back of the brain. That's where information goes in first, and that's where we feel things. We feel things before we're able to get them to the frontal lobe, where we can begin to logically process them. So that's why sometimes people get triggered, because you feel something first. You always feel first, and then if you're not skilled, if you're not well versed in emotional intelligence, as we call it, then we will be ruled by our emotions. We'll be ruled by our feelings, because we don't give them enough time to get to the front, where logic is able to take over, and we're able to better process what it is that we're feeling. So again, I won't go into that. That's not the purpose of today's show, or episode. It's really to just give you more of an overview, something to really consider, the fact that Your emotions, they are responding to something, and then they're relaying vital information to you. So I want you to take the approach of when you feel negative emotions, and I'll get to the CTA in just a moment. I'm kind of jumping the gun, but basically, you don't want to push them away or shove them away or blanket them or try to tuck them away. I want you to begin to engage your emotions, become curious, lean in, and begin to learn from your emotions. So, number three, this brings us to our number three. Emotions are a part of you. Okay. And I want you to understand something. This is something I learned a year ago during my coaching certification that totally changed the game for me. Integrate, don't eliminate. Integrate, don't eliminate. Emotions have utility value. Your emotions have utility value, AKA, your emotions are useful. You can use them for something. And in the context of this conversation, you're going to use them for your good. You're going to begin to use them rather than them using you. So emotions are a part of you. Again, remember when I talked about combative? Stop trying to fight them. Stop trying to push them away. God gave you emotions. They're a part of your makeup. Just like your brain is a part of your makeup, your heart is a part of your makeup, your body is a part of your makeup, your spirit is a part of your makeup, right? Your mind, will, emotions, right? All of this, right? It's all working together for your good. Just like you can improve your physical body to do things that you desire to do, you can improve your emotional intelligence, your emotional understanding to do things and to improve areas of your life. So emotions are a part of you. Don't push them away. Here's what you want to do. You want to begin to integrate, don't eliminate. Don't push them away. Understand that they have value, utility value. They are useful. They are on your side. They're working for you. They're there for you. Emotions are there to serve you. They're not there to sabotage. They're there to ensure and to secure your success. That's really what emotions are for. Emotions are there to ensure and secure your success, not derail it, not sabotage it. And so again, if it's negative emotions that you're feeling, they're showing up for a reason. So let me give you an example, and then I want to give you the CTA, and then I want to go ahead and wrap it up. For example, you may be doing an activity, right? I don't want to name it, you name it, whatever it is, but you may be doing an activity. And every time you do that activity, when you're done doing that activity, you feel crappy. You feel weird, off, awkward. Something just ain't right. There's a little voice inside of you that just says, yeah, you can do it and you're doing it, but it just don't vibe right. It just don't click right. Right. It's just something about it. But you do it and you try to ignore that feeling. But every time you do it, you keep feeling some type of way. Well, that emotion is trying to be an informant. That emotion is trying to educate. That emotion is responding to that activity and is trying to relay to you, ding, 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 ding. This is not good for you. This no longer aligns with your life. There are some things in my life, whether it was smoking weed, whether it was pornography, whether it was hanging with certain people, whether it was watching certain shows on television, whether it was engaging in certain activities, right? Like all of them don't come to mind right now, but I've done this many, many times where you just have to come to grips with the fact that this activity or these people or that thing in your life, it no longer aligns with you. It no longer serves you, and your emotions keep showing up. There's a consistency in that negative emotion that you're feeling every time you talk to that person, every time you get on the phone with that person, every time you do that activity, every time you watch that show, every time you listen to that music, every time you go into that place. There is a consistent thread of a negative emotion. Every time you do blank, you feel blank. You fill in these blanks. But every time, think about it, every time I do this, I feel this. And if you're really tired of feeling this, then you need to pay attention to how you're feeling and then connect the dots and say, okay, this feeling keeps showing up every time this activity shows up. This feeling keeps showing up every time this person shows up. This feeling keeps showing up every time I engage in this activity, right? So it's either a person, a place, or a thing. It's a noun, right? It's a person, place, or thing that you're doing, that you're engaged in, that's creating that negative emotion. And when you have that negative emotion, here's what I want you to do. CTA, I want you to begin to question your emotions. They can be negative, positive, or indifferent. This works for all of them. Obviously, we're talking about negative emotions, but it works for all emotions. If you have a great emotion, like you feel good, take note of that. Why do I feel like I'm on a natural high right now? I ain't smoked no weed, I ain't drank no drink, but I feel happy. I'm excited about life. Take notice of what you're doing right now. Take notice of what you're engaged in. What's the activity? Who are the people? Where's the place? Tie that together. Draw the dots, connect the dots, because your emotion is responding to something and it's relaying to you information that lets you know, oh, if I do this, I feel like this. When I'm around them, I feel like this. When I think about this, I feel like this. When I talk about this, I feel like this. It goes across the board. It can be thoughts, it can be words you say, it can be people that you're around, places that you go, activities that you engage in. It is across the board. When I blank, I feel blank. Get you a pen and a pad, man. If you are serious about this thing, get you a freaking pen and a pad and begin to take note. If you feel like crap today, sit down and question that crap. Why do I feel like this? Okay, who did I just recently talk to? What was the context of that conversation? Where am I right now? Is this a good environment? What have I been engaged in? Are these activities that really no longer serve me and no longer really need to be in my life? Like, what's the value of this thing being in my life? And then process of elimination. Okay, I feel negative. I talked to this person. I was engaged in this activity and I was in this place. Start to eliminate them. Don't go to that place no more. Do you still feel that way? Well, yeah. Okay, don't talk to that person no more. You still feel that way? Well, yeah. Then what's the activity? Eliminate that activity. Do you still feel that way? No, I feel better. So now put the person back in your life. Do you still feel okay? Yeah, I do. Put the place back in your life. Go back to that place again. Do you still feel okay? Yeah, I feel fine. Aha, ding, ding, ding. Aha, akra, akra. It was the activity. It wasn't where you were going or who you were with. It was what you were doing. So you can play the process of elimination every time you feel a negative emotion and take note of it. Write it down. Take note of it. Get serious about it. Put it on paper and remind yourself, I don't need to do that thing no more because it makes me feel like this. I don't need to be around this person no more because it makes me feel like this. I don't need to go over there no more because it makes me feel like this. Now, yes, there is a lot more inner work that needs to happen. Yes, there is more support that may need to happen. You may need more coaching. You may need therapy. You may need accountability. Yes, there's always the rabbit hole always goes deeper. But today, the purpose of what I wanted to share with you today, and I believe that I've done that, is to bring awareness. I want to bring awareness to the fact that you don't have to be ruled and ran over by your emotions. In fact, your emotions are for you. They're working for you. They're in your corner. They're your corner man. They're on your team. You feel me? They got your back. But you have to learn why they're there, what they are, what they're doing, and how to communicate with your emotion, right? It's like you're talking to it. Hey, what are you informing me of? What are you sharing with me? What are you educating me on? Where do I need to improve? Where do I need to realign? What type of things do I need to be doing? And your emotions will let you know it. All right. Hope and pray that this made sense, guys. I talked about coaching earlier. If you guys need a coach, I am a coach. I'm a certified coach. If you need that coaching, you need that extra accountability, you need that service, then hit a brother up. iAMthepossible.com. iAMthepossible.com. I thought I had it somewhere down here. Let me go ahead and just make that on the screen. iAMthepossible.com. possible. I am thepossible.com. You can also get my weekly podcast there. There you go. iAMthepossible.com. You can get my podcast for additional encouragement and inspiration and information. If you're not already plugged into my podcast, there's a tab there on my website where you can plug in for one-on-one personal coaching. Just drop some information in the box and I'll follow up with you, and we'll see if we're a good fit concerning coaching. If you have an event and you need a speaker, you need someone to come in as a keynote speaker or someone who can train and facilitate in this area of mental health and mobilization of Christian men in the marketplace, then I am your guy, man. I want to help. I want to serve. I want to show up for you. So hit me up, iamthepossible.com. One word, no space. Don't forget the. A lot of people is I am possible. I get it. No. Don't leave out the. iamthepossible.com. I would love to serve you guys. All right, that is it. Can't wait to connect with you. Can't wait to hear from you. I hope and pray that this has added value and that you've got something from it. Please go out and do these things and see some good results. All right, love you guys. Praying for you guys. Believing in you guys. Until next time, remember, if you can see the possible, you can be the possible. And I am out.